Hello, my name is Dr. Katz. So today we have a really important topic that affects a lot of people who need treatment for obesity. Let's talk about the cost of the medications, why it's so high, and what you can do about it. So for starters, you probably know your friends or even yourself, if you don't have that insurance coverage, you go pick up the medication and you're told it's going to cost you $1,000, $1,200, and you think this, that's ridiculous. Why is it so expensive? Why is this pharmacy charging me so much money? So let's break it down. It's really crucial for you to know how this sausage is made in the background. Number one, the average amount that a pharmaceutical company spends on creating a medication from the very initial step to when it's available on the market and FDA approved, it costs approximately 980 million, basically $1 billion to create that medication. You can imagine that's a big investment because not every creation ends up leading to a medication. So they have to recoup their money. That's number one. So certainly that makes the medication more expensive. Number two, once they have the medication and they want to sell it, it's no longer as simple as the pharmaceutical company selling it directly to the pharmacy and you pick it up. That's not how it works, not anymore. There's some entity called Pharmacy Benefit Managers, PBMs. So they come in, they're basically the middleman. They come in and their goal is to negotiate a better price for you, basically through insurance provided by your job, commercial insurance. This is where it gets tricky. As they start reducing the price, the pharmaceutical company sees that their profit goes down. So the pharmaceutical companies basically wise up. If they were going to ask for $700 for the medication, and they know that if they ask for that, it will be brought down to 500 or 400, they just simply jack up the price and they say, okay, you know what? We want $1,100. And therefore, they start at a higher number. So while the pharmaceutical benefit companies are able to negotiate a better price for people that are going to be getting through their commercial insurance, a person without coverage finds out that they have to pay $1,100 up to $1,300 out of pocket to get the medication. So that's one problem. Number two, whatever the discount that these PBMs are able to obtain, they go ahead and they add on their own profit margin. Then they have to sell this medication to a pharmacy or pharmacies, the big pharmacy companies. They again sell it, the pharmacy companies, or where you pick up your in the pharmacies, that price is going to go up as well. So before you know, that would have cost, let's say, $700, which is still a lot of money. It gets bumped up to an artificially high number. It gets brought down by these PBMs, who then increase and create a profit margin for themselves. And when they sell it to the pharmacies have to raise the price to make some profit. And incidentally, you may think that when you go to the pharmacy and ask you for $1,200, that pharmacy is making $1,200. Absolutely not true. The profit margin for that pharmacy or even the small personalized pharmacies, profit margin is very minimal. Okay. Now you have a better understanding why it's so expensive. Now the question is, what can you do about it? What are the steps you can take? So, for starters, when you're working with your medical doctor in order to lose weight, keep in mind the physician's office has to obtain what's called a prior authorization. What is that? Prior authorization is where the information and request goes to your insurance company or basically the pharmacy benefit managers. It goes out to them saying that the doctor wants to prescribe a medication. In addition, they have to send clinical notes from your doctor's visit to help justify that subscription. Once that prescription and the notes are taken together, that's when you find out if it's covered by insurance, great. It only costs you $25 or $50. If it's not, there's a problem and it's going to cost you a lot of money. So you have to make sure that your doctor's office really puts in a lot of effort in order to help you out. And not everyone can because this takes a lot of time and power of the people working at the office. Number two, you can go ahead and find coupons. You can try out something like GoodRx. The problem is these coupons aren't going to make this medication much cheaper. So for instance, instead of having to pay $1,300 on a medication like Zepbound, you may end up paying as low as $650. Still very expensive. And the medication like Wegovy, I'm not even familiar with actual coupons in that specific medication. So that's number two. Number three, you can go ahead and make sure and find out about the pharmacies associated with the company. So there's something called Lilly Direct Cash Pay and Lilly Direct Pharmacy. Basically, with Lilly Direct Cash Pay, you could get the medication at a price of approximately $400 for the lowest dose, 2.5 milligrams, and $500, $550 actually, for the next dose, which is 5 milligrams. So this is a way to get the medication. It's still going to be very expensive, but it's not going to be as much. Lastly, you can approach your human relations department or your pharmacy benefits department and request that they go ahead and add on the medication to the formulary. Formulary basically where it's determined which medications will be accessible to you at the best price. Hopefully, they go ahead and they take a look at it and consider adding it on, but you should know it's very rare that this happens, that the medication gets added on, because it's not just for you. That means every employee who has that insurance now has the ability to get the medication at a better price. So these are some of the steps you can take to get the medication at a more reasonable price. There's one more step, but this is controversial: the use of compounded medication. So compounded medications are those that are created by external pharmacies, and they are not the official medication from the company. Now, this is controversial. Obesity societies warn that doctors, nurse practitioners, not to prescribe the compounded medication there because of concern about safety. On the other hand, sometimes doctors may realize that for the patient, A, there may be a shortage of medication, and this would be the only practical way for the person to continue on the medication, or B, they feel that the medication by mouth is not going to be enough to get the job done. Therefore, this is something to discuss with your doctor. It is controversial, so make sure you have a quality and long conversation. As you can imagine, I'm not your doctor, so I'm not here to tell you what you should or should not do. I hope this helps out. I wish you all the best.